Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and to another installment in the Q&R and Scenic Valley Railroad build. In the previous installment, you saw me get the upper helixes almost to the top. There is still about one more lap to go on each side, and that will be one of the tasks that I take care of in this installment. And you also may recall that I have commented about delaying the peninsula build for as long as I possibly can. Well, that time has come. The main task this week is to get that peninsula framed up. So without further ado, let's just head out into the workshop and get busy. I hope you enjoy it. Well, since I have now done about as much bench work as I can without the peninsula being built, I'm going to start working on that next. But before I get rid of my workbench area, I'm going to cut some more road bed for the top of the helix. This full semicircle here is not actually for the helix, that is for the end of the peninsula. It's a slightly larger radius. But I'm going to get all these cut quickly, and then I'm going to rip a whole load of strips before I start building the cabinets that will support the end of the peninsula and also house the DCC system. So let me get back to work, and I'll check in with you again later. In addition to the rest of the helix sub road bed, I have cut a whole load of strips to build the bench work for the peninsula, and I've dismantled my temporary workbench in the other room. I haven't yet put the table saw away because I still have to trim some pieces to build the cabinets, but I have a lot more space to work now, and once the cabinets are built I will put the table saw away, and that'll be a good opportunity to clean up the mess. I've got to get a plan together for building those cabinets. Don't go away. Well, I've cut most of the panels for the 3 cabinets, and I just realised that I need the sawhorses set up again to do the backs, because I'm doing that out of 1/2 inch to save weight, and the full sheet is too big to handle safely on a small table saw. So I've set up the sawhorses once more to cut the back panels. No biggie. It's only a few seconds extra work. Well, I now have the peninsula support cabinets finished and installed, located accurately and leveled. You can see my method for leveling them. This block is the right height because the bottom of the fascia on the peninsula is 3 inches lower than it is above the staging yard. So that's why I put a 3-inch plank in there. Basically it's 27 inches from the bottom of the legs, excluding the screw feet. The expectation is that we'll be able to take the screw feet off when we install it in the client's home, because it is an upstairs bedroom and the floor should be exactly level. It's also a laminate floor and the bolt heads will probably damage it. So if there is slight imperfections, we'll just use shims. Anyway, as I mentioned earlier, or I might have mentioned earlier, this cabinet gets a sliding shelf for the DCC system, but unfortunately I bought the wrong size of drawer runners, so I'm going to have to return those to Lowe's tomorrow. I've got to go to Lowe's tomorrow anyway, but I'll get the right size. Well, it is Wednesday morning. I did a Lowe's run yesterday. I bought the door skin plywood that I need to finish the helixes. This stuff here along the edges that I'm using for the fences. And I also bought the correct size sliding drawer tracks. Here they are. So I've got those 2 areas that I can catch up, and then it's on to building the framework for the peninsula. There'll be one rather large piece that goes on top of the cabinets, and then 2 more that go side by side and split down the middle that bridge this gap that is about 8 to 9 feet long. So I think the first task of the day is to finish the helixes. So let me get busy and I'll be right back. Well, I've put the top lap on both helixes. This one comes out of the tunnel, or this one comes out through the backdrop a few inches past here. You can see I have cut the supports down. I've put a step in them. There's that 1/8 inch step where I go to the thick foam road bed. And on this helix, although it's still hidden, it straightens up about here and then cuts diagonally across the peninsula and becomes visible near where that plywood is leant against the pillar. It hasn't been a whole day, but I don't feel like starting on the framing for the peninsula just yet. I still have to go in and get some drawings done, so I know exactly how big to build them. So I will do that tomorrow. I'll see you then. Well, I didn't get out here at all yesterday because the power was out for most of the day. So hopefully I can make a lot of progress today to make up for it. I have a benchwork plan for the peninsula. It's 3 sections. This piece goes directly above the cabinets that I built on Monday, and then there is a long narrow section and a tapered piece. So for most of its length the peninsula splits it down the middle, and most of the backdrop will be on this one side, although there will be a short piece of curve at the end which has to lock into the back of this one, which of course is double-sided from where my finger is all the way to the end. I'm going to start by doing them one at the end, and then I will measure the gap and fill that piece in. They can't go all the way to the helix, the curved road bed will get in the way. So I've planned to just take them as far as the ends of the backdrop and then use spacer sections which will have integral legs, and it will hold everything the right distance apart. Well, this first frame is not done yet. It's about halfway there, but I had to test fit it, get it accurately positioned on top of the cabinets so that I can figure out where these pieces go. These that are just resting in place right now, because I need them to be directly above the end panels of the cabinets so I can put a splice plate in to accurately locate it in the train room. And then I will also put a piece in here on top of the corner cabinets to position the angled piece. So then it will be accurately located in all 4 corners, so it can just drop into place. So I'm just going to take it back to the workbench and add the last few braces, and then I'll be all set. Well, this frame is now complete except for the supports for the backdrops. There will be some more framing in this rectangle used to hold the backdrops vertical. Next, what I've got to do is get all the locating blocks on the cabinets installed so that I can accurately position it. And then once I've done that, I can start on bridging the gap back to the helix. So let me get back to work, and I will check in with you again later. Don't go away. Well, I have now properly attached the end piece and built the next one. That one was very straightforward, just an 8 foot long, well actually it's 8 foot 1.5 by 2 foot rectangle with a little bit of a tail in this corner to catch the curving front fascia. The next piece that goes in here is basically another one the same, but with a triangular side extension and a small end extension, because the backdrop on this one comes past the end of the helix. It comes to about where this roadbed ends here. So the next one's going to take twice as long, but twice nothing, still nothing. So let me just get on with that, and I'll be right back. Well, here are both the joining sections temporarily supported on blocks of wood and clamps, just to make sure that they fit. I have to make sure that this aisle is exactly parallel before I install anything permanently. There's no reason why it shouldn't be, because everything is as square as I can get it. So once I have confirmed that, I will bolt everything together, and then I can finish framing in this triangle. At the moment this joint is not glued, it just has one temporary screw in, because I wanted to make sure that it worked at this end. You can see here that I've got about 1/8 of an inch gap because those two pieces are not exactly the same shape. I believe the first one I put in is straight, so this one is waving just a little bit. That's why I wanted to leave myself some adjustment here. Once I've got the sections bolted together, then that will sit where it needs to go, and I can put the glue and the permanent screws in. So let me do all of that, and I will be right back. Don't go away. Well, I had some problems trying to get all these small areas out to make it perfect. The main problem was that there wasn't enough friction for it to stay put, so it kept sliding across the floor. So what I've done now is I have cut 4 braces exactly the right length to space those two frames exactly 39 inches apart. So now I know everything is in exactly the right place, so I can bolt everything together firmly. I also had to remove this diagonal brace because I realised it was impossible to get the drill in where I needed to at a sensible angle. Well, for the most part, the peninsula now is fully framed up. I did this triangle in situ because that was the easiest way of making sure it was accurate. I'm going to do the same with the end extension. And the other thing I need to do is get a pair of legs. They go under this joist here, the third one from the end. Well, this morning has been a case of catching up a few odd bits and pieces that were left out. The most challenging of which was to design and build this bracket to cantilever the peninsula off the corner of the helix frame. This piece will support the backdrop as the benchwork starts to curve, because the fascia will run straight for most of the length of this diagonal and then curve, just about touch that stringer, and then it will already be angling on its way out again when it gets to that. And then this is the start of a bracket that will come vertically to support the end of the backdrop. I have put these 2 diagonal braces just temporarily screwed to the frames. Hopefully that will keep it in alignment so that I can now remove those 4 braces that are blocking the aisle on the other side. And also I have screwed a temporary brace to this post to make sure that the peninsula stays in the correct alignment. So that should mean that I can get rid of all this bracing down on the floor, which will make it a lot easier to clean up. Then once I've removed all the temporary stuff, I can get into this other side and build another bracket on this corner. A leg would be a lot simpler, but I'm trying to avoid that because I don't want to restrict access underneath the helix. Well, there is the bracket for the other side. It's completely different from the first one. It's not pretty, but it is absolutely solid, which is my minimum specification for all model railroad benchwork. It has to be rock solid. And of course I was able to do it without getting any additional legs in the way of access. There is one more thing I want to take care of today. Let's walk around the other side. I want to get the sliding shelf in this cabinet for the DCC system. So let me get the draw guides out and work out what size it needs to be, and I'll be right back. Well, here is my shelf for the DCC system, using 14-inch kitchen draw guides. I think that's all I'm going to do today. It certainly hasn't been a full-length day. Mondays seldom are, because those are the days that I elect to do my weekly grocery shopping and other errands. But I am satisfied with what I got done today. It means I can get a good day's progress in tomorrow, because I've done all the little fiddly bits that just seem to take forever. I also modified the splice plate for the roadbed at this point. Well, that's all for this week. Hope you enjoyed this presentation and found it useful. In the next installment of this build series, I will start by taking care of the roadbed on the peninsula, so as to get the main line all the way around the room. So until next week, I'm just going to sign off, and I hope to see you again next time. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.